the African Inland Mission that founded the Africa Inland Church, all came. And after that, they found that there was competition among the Protestants, because the Protestant missions were very eager. And that is when they came to an agreement of committee, so that they would have areas of influence. And for about 60 years, when the colonial masters were there, they did not allow very much interaction between the communities. Although the communities were becoming Christians, they were becoming either Methodist Christians or Anglican Christians or Presbyterian Christians or African Inland Church Christians. By doing so, the churches therefore have strength in those tribes. So when you say PCA, you can clearly say it's a Kikuyu. When somebody says I'm a PCA, he must be a Kikuyu. If they say I'm SDA, Seventh-day Adventist, you can almost say they are Kisi, which is the area SDA was asked to. When you say you're African Inland Church, you must be a Mukamba or something like that. That then established tribal denominations. Now, during the colonial time, these missionaries were not allowed to witness to Muslims. And so almost officially established tribal also Muslims, or Muslim tribes. Then if Mr. Mote can help me get a map of Kenya on the screen, and just show you briefly what happened there. And so you find what is normally today called Northeastern Province and the northern part of the Eastern Province. That is the map of Kenya. Okay. You can see what is majority Muslim is also majority Somali. And then the Coast Province, which is Mijikenda, Taita Taveta, Swahili speaking, those are majority Muslims. There is a little bit of African traditional religion, but in almost equal size in terms of land, except population. The country is divided into two. The western part is mainly, central to western is mainly Christian. The coast and northeastern is mainly Islamic. So when independence came and Christians started going to those areas to plant churches, obviously the Muslims resisted. Because for 60 years they've been told this is Islamic area, and so leave it alone. Although the Muslims went ahead and built mosques in all those Christian-dominated areas. And that has created that kind of attention that exists right now. It is not yet too much militant, but sometimes they do burn churches down. If you build a church in the northeastern area and they don't like you and you are preaching, especially when we talk of crusades, they will burn it down. If you are conducting crusades and saying things against Muhammad. It is not very violent, but it can become that if you say silly things as far as the Muslims are concerned. In terms of Christianity, the main denominations are the Roman Catholic, which is the largest of all the denominations, with about 35%. Then the Protestants together are about 45%, and then there are the others which we call the independent churches or Africa-initiated churches, and a few others. The Muslims, in the 1989 census, which is when they showed the difference in terms of tribes, the Muslims would be estimated to be about 10 to 11%. However, the Muslims always want to believe they are 40% of the Kenyan population. And that is debatable. Last year we had a census. 5 minutes, okay. Last year we had a census, and the census results were not released. Because there was an influx of Somalis in the country. And a story that was carried in the daily newspaper on February 16th said that there was a problem. In 1989, the Somalis were 900,000. In 2009, they were 2.3 million. And they said that cannot be biological growth. There must be something. They blamed it mainly on things like gossip. Islam is mainly Sunni, but you will find also Shiites, and you will find Sufis as well. Two Sufi orders, the Shadili and Qadiri orders, are found, and one event marks the Sufi day. The Sufi orders is the Maulidi. Maulidi is celebrated every year in Lamu. Very, very popular. Normally attended by up to 50,000 Muslims from Kenya and around the region. We have another issue in Kenya, that is the issue of Kadi courts, and it has come to the limelight. In just 2 minutes, if I can summarize that. We have had Kadi courts in the constitution of the country since 1963. They were not in the constitution of the country. The Kadi courts existed, but not in the constitution until 1963, when they were incorporated in Kenyan law, only as a subordinate court to deal with matters which are personal status, marriage, inheritance, and so on. When Kenya started reviewing its constitution, the Muslims submitted their request to have the Kadi courts expanded, especially the marriage expanded, beyond those personal Islamic family law issues. And that they would have even appellate courts from the district all the way to the national. The Christians then thought something is not right, and they started opposing the Kadi court's inclusion in the constitution. They even went to court in 2005, and recently the 3 judges passed read the judgment that it was unconstitutional to include Kadi courts in the constitution. Something that is still debated right now, because many people believe that a court in the constitution cannot rule against another court in the constitution. That is at least the argument. But the main argument is the agreement between the Sultan of Zanzibar and the Prime Minister of Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta, in 1963, did not include having Kadi courts in the constitution of the country. It allowed them to practice Kadi courts in the 10-mile strip if it is joined to the country. But now it ended up in there, and there was an act of Parliament 1967 that actually enacted other Kadi courts. So in brief, the Kenyan church now is up at arms with the government, asking them to remove the Kadi courts from the constitution. And with this year is a referendum year for Kenya to vote our current draft, which still includes the Kadi courts. And so if we vote it in, then it's saying we agree that the Kadi courts can stay as they are in the current constitution, in the new constitution.